Our family reflects, find the strength and the truth found in Scripture. As is the mother, so is the daughter. And to the rest of Dianne's family, we send our love and hope you find comfort in the knowledge that she and her are now together again. And to the nation today, may Dianne's life be a reminder that the institutions of our democracy do not only depend on the Constitution that governs our nation, which she swore an oath to uphold and defend. Our democracy depends on the constitution of our character as a people, on the habits of our heart and our mind that lie deep within us. Thank God we have Dianne showing us the way by the power of her example. God bless the great American hero. She was something else, and she was a dear friend. God bless Dianne Feinstein.
Now it is my honor to introduce the Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala D. Harris.
Thank you, Mayor Breed. To Catherine, Eileen, Rick, and the entire family, and to all the distinguished guests who are gathered, it is my honor to be here with you today. Dianne Feinstein was an icon of California. She was an American patriot, a giant of the Senate, and a dear friend to Doug and me. She was a student of history, a gifted, and I will add, very generous artist, to the uneducated here, I will let you in on a well-known secret. San Francisco politics is rough and tumble. Some even say a bare-knuckled sport. And this city requires its elected officials to engage on a daily basis in complex discussions with informed, constituents who will raise the most interest of local issues, no matter if you are walking through the Presidio or attending an event at Delancey Street. And this environment, I do believe, guided Dianne's style of leadership, even after she reached the heights of national and global power. Dianne diligently focused on the impacts to real people, ideology, substance, not ship, results, not rhetoric. When I was sworn into the Senate in 2017, it was Dianne who welcomed me. She invited me to her Senate hideaway. There, with one hand, she presented me with a glass of California Chardonnay, and with the other hand, a binder full of her draft bills. And true to her mayoral roots, she was deeply immersed in the details of each bill and how each would play on the streets of our beloved state. Some of my fondest recent memories of Dianne are of our time together in a SCIF, a secure meeting room in the United States Senate. Every week, members of the Senate Intelligence Committee would walk into that wood-paneled room, no cameras, no public, no devices. Senators of both parties who would take off their jackets and literally roll up their sleeves, putting aside partisanship to discuss what was in the best interest of our national security. There, we would review classified materials and receive updates from the heads of the CIA, our intelligence community, and the United States military. And God forbid if one of them gave an evasive answer. Dianne, with her trademark grin, would pause, lift up her memo, glance knowingly at the others of us on the dais, and question the witness in a way this former prosecutor always admired. In that room, there was give and take, substantive debate, and problem solving. And that was quintessential Dianne at her best. So as I close, allow me to turn back the clock 30 years to Tuesday, November 3rd, 1992. I was a young prosecutor at the Alameda County District Attorney's Office. And on that evening, I left my home in Oakland, got in my Toyota Corolla, and drove across the Bay Bridge to the city. I pulled into the Fairmont Hotel, and I walked up to a huge and packed ballroom. There on stage stood Dianne and Barbara Boxer, hands raised in what the nation would name the Year of the Woman. We celebrated an historic feat. We were the first state to elect 2 female senators. And that night we celebrated Dianne, who the next day would take office as the first female senator ever for the great state of California. Fast forward to today, when I again traveled to the city to celebrate Dianne, this time from Washington, D.C., on Air Force Two. Dianne, the women of America have come a long way. Our country has come a long way. And you helped move the ball forward, and our nation salutes you, Dianne.
Please welcome the Senate Majority Leader of the United States Senate, the Honorable Charles E. Schumer.
Thank you, Mayor and Vice President Harris, Speaker Emerita Pelosi, Mayor Breed, Rabbi Singer, Cantor Barak, Catherine, and all of Dianne's family, my many dear colleagues who have come here, and friends. Now, there's a story of Dianne I always thought was quintessentially her. Some of us might remember that years ago, Senator Feinstein injured her ankle while on a morning walk in Lake Tahoe. Now, most people might go see a doctor, clear the schedule, focus on recovering. But Dianne, forget it. It was the week of the Lake Tahoe Summit, a signature event of hers, one she inaugurated back in 1997 with Harry Reid, convening leaders from California and Nevada, the public sector, the private sector, all for a cause near and dear to her heart, preserving Lake Tahoe for future generations. Years later, she looked back on that morning and remembered hearing a bone pop, but chose to finish her day before even thinking about treatment. Turns out it was a pretty significant fracture. Asked how she got through the day, she only offered 3 words: I just did. Now, there are many adjectives that rightly describe Dianne Feinstein: strong, unflappable, winning, fierce, practical, earnest. But one quality above all stands out in my mind and will forever set Dianne apart: integrity. Integrity. Dianne Feinstein was a leader of uncommon integrity. She had an internal gyroscope that propelled her, motivated her, never let her stray from a cause she knew was right. I have to be unflappable right now. When she embraced an issue, she pursued it until the end, no matter the consequences, no matter what others thought. Her integrity made her sparkle like a diamond in the Senate. I was dazzled by that internal gyroscope for the first time in 1994, when I closely worked with Dianne as the author of the House version of the assault weapons ban, which Dianne championed in the Senate. She worked that bill harder than anyone I'd seen work a bill, attacking every angle, thinking of every pitfall, resisting every broadside from the NRA, because she knew her cause to be just from her own experience. Thanks to her dedication, her unflappability, her trademark integrity, America turned a new leaf in the fight for gun safety. Working with Dianne on the assault weapons ban was one of the proudest moments of my time in office. From that time on, I not only called Dianne a colleague, but a close friend. And what a loving, caring friend she was. When my daughter first moved to San Francisco out of college that September, I got a call from Dianne. She asked me, "Does your daughter have anywhere to go for the High Holy Day services?" I said no. She said, "Well, and she's going to services with me." There are so many qualities of this amazingly multifaceted woman that I will miss. I will miss her ability to win over doubters and detractors, and there were many, not by putting them down, but with her elegance, her poise, and her piercing wit. I will miss her sheer dedication and thoroughness. She was better prepared and better informed than just about anyone else. I can't tell you how many times Dianne would consider a topic and say, "Let me go home and read first." And she'd always come back with 40 or 50 or 60 questions the next day. I will miss Dianne's talent as one of the Senate's great deal makers. If there was the smallest bit of common ground, she'd pursue it if it meant moving an issue forward. Even while being so far ahead of her time on gun safety, marriage equality, women's rights, the environment, and so many other issues, she was never afraid of working with those she disagreed with whenever the opportunity arose. Dianne Feinstein was the living embodiment of what the Senate should always be, an institution built on cooperation. Finally, I'll always be indebted to Dianne, not just as a colleague, but as a father of two daughters. Because of Dianne, my daughters grew up in a world that's a little bit fairer, a little more just, and more accepting of women in leadership. Speaking at Stanford commencement in 1993, Dianne confessed that she never sought to be the first woman in this role or that role. What mattered most, she said, was to live life to the fullest and advise the graduates to, quote, be able to accept challenge, take some risk, but always protect your integrity. And that is just what she did throughout her entire career. So today we grieve. Today we mourn an immense loss for the Senate, for California, for America. But we also give thanks. Thanks that someone so rarefied, so dedicated, and with a sparkling diamond-like presence served our country so well for so many wonderful years.
And now I would like to read a statement from former Congressman and Chair of the California Democratic Party, John Burton. Our country, California, and my hometown of San Francisco, has lost a great public servant. But more important to me is that I lost a friend of more than 50 years. She was a force to be reckoned with when it really mattered most, and she showed up for you when the chips were down. She saved San Francisco during its darkest hours and showed political courage during times when no one else did as a United States Senator. She had chutzpah, and I loved her for it. My heart goes out to her family and especially her daughter, Catherine, her granddaughter, Eileen. Rest in power, my friend, from John Burton, as I said, former congressman and former chairman of the Democratic Party in California. Now, please join me in welcoming the San Francisco Girls Chorus. Now, please join me in welcoming our Speaker Emerita, the Honorable Nancy Pelosi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dianne, all your life you have challenged everyone to do our best. Now, as we honor your leadership, to celebrate your life and express our sorrow in your passing, living up to your standard is quite a challenge. However, we started with the President of the United States having his plane carry you home. He loved you so much, he said, "My only wish is that I could have been on the plane taking her home." Draped in the American flag, your beautiful landing in the arms of the first responders, lifting you up, Catherine, Rick, and Eileen on Saturday. Over the weekend, your beloved 49ers and our great San Francisco Giants paid tribute to you at their games. Yesterday, Mayor Breed received you triumphantly back at City Hall, where you would lie in state and be welcomed home by the people of San Francisco with music and song. Thousands of people came to pay their respects in line the blocks all day long and into the night, so that the family had to extend the time for people to pay their respects. And this week it was announced that the Blue Angels, the Fleet Week would be dedicated to you. Fleet Week would be dedicated, and now listen to this. The Blue Angels will pilot a missing woman formation honoring Dianne Feinstein. She flew with them. Imagine. Choirs singing, people crying, teams cheering, ships sailing, Blue Angels flying, all honoring Dianne, a woman so strategic and so strong, a lady so gentle, a trailblazing model, and a mentor of generosity and sweetness. Here they come again. While they're coming, let's recognize the members of Congress who are here, the House and the Senate. Please stand so that we can recognize you all. So many. Thank you. You know, from the most vulnerable in our midst to the most powerful persons in the world, Dianne regarded everyone with respect. Thank you, Thank you, Catherine, Rick, and Eileen for sharing Dianne with us. We all smile when thinking of Dianne going to her first civic engagement with Catherine in a stroller. And then, years later, it's what Dianne wants. That's what we get. And years later, with Eileen, whom Dianne called Noodle, in her arms. Catherine in the stroller, Noodle in her arms. Blue Angels in the sky. Dianne drew strength from you, Catherine, Noodle, and Rick, and we all drew strength from her. I hope it is a comfort to you that so many people mourn your loss and are praying for you at this sad time. Dianne, they asked me to talk personally about Dianne, we being neighbors as well as political, shall we say, in the same arena. Dianne loved cultivating people and flowers. She cultivated relationships, bringing people together, officially, personally, and romantically. You know that Dianne was a matchmaker. Now, some of you know that. You are here, Jerry Brown and Ann, Charlotte Schultz and George. You know, the list goes on and on. Last week, my daughter Nancy was toasting Dianne, and she said, "Thank you, Dianne, for allowing us to be present in your happy place." Dianne considered it a happy place where she challenged us all. This was at the beginning of last week. Little did we know what the week would hold. Dianne cultivated people. She was loyal to hundreds of commissioners, appointees, and staff, many of whom are here today. Let's hear it from you, all of you. I have a T-shirt that I want to show you, and it says, and many of you have worn this, "I survived Dianne's staff meetings." And Dianne cultivated flowers. She loved flowers, to grow them, to show them, to paint them, and share them on drawings and on mugs. Anybody here have a mug, a Dianne mug? And neighbors, Paul and I always knew, because we could see from our window, that Dianne had the most fabulous hydrangeas. As neighbors and friends, Dianne and I took pride in working together for California and for our values. I'll always remember this one time in 2015 in the United States Capitol. Dianne and I expressed our concern to President Xi about the Chinese government's abuses of the Tibetans and disrespect for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. When Dianne spoke, people listened. People have asked me, what is the best advice I ever received from Dianne? Well, there's many, we all have gotten great advice from Dianne, but the most constant advice I ever got from her, again and again, was, Nancy, you don't always have to be the one going out on the attack. Let some other people do that from time to time. Why don't you do that? I don't know. Madam Vice President, thank you so much for honoring us with your presence today and honoring Dianne, your good friend, and again, official associate. It's an honor that you are here. Leader Schumer, you have spoken so beautifully about Dianne, our senator's accomplishments. Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful remarks the morning of her passing and all that you have done since then to honor her memory. And she has a lasting legacy. From the cable cars, the breast cancer stamp, to the assault weapons ban, to Team Tahoe. Any Team Tahoes here? Team Tahoe. The list goes on and on. From the U.S. Capitol back to San Francisco, where Dianne Feinstein is our forever mayor. Forever mayor. Dianne was such a commanding mayor for 10 powerful years that when her term was up and some other people started to run for mayor, including some men, school children were saying, can a man be mayor of San Francisco? I guess. Dianne left. Madam Mayor? There we go. Dianne left us as she had lived. She left on her own terms. She was proud to confirm more than 140 Biden judges. And Chuck can attest that she walked onto that floor last Thursday, which would be her last day, and so she walked onto the floor and voted to advance legislation to keep government open for the people. This is just the beginning. All weekend, it's Fleet Week dedicated to Dianne. Flyovers all weekend. She would like it like that. The president began his beautiful tribute earlier in the program with a poem by Emerson. I will end with a song suggested by Nancy Corinne, my daughter who loved Dianne so much, American Anthem. Doesn't this sound like Dianne? Let them say of me, I believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through, America, America, I did my best for you. Dianne Feinstein. Dianne, we know you did your best for America. May you rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Now, I told the Blue Angels just 2 times, but now they're just giving us some more energy. We're excited and grateful for the senator's legacy, and we know that they loved her as well. So at this time, I'd like to welcome, for the final remarks of the day, Senator Dianne Feinstein's granddaughter, Eileen Mariano.
Thank you, Mayor Breed, and thank you to everyone in the audience for making the journey out here today and for braving the heat. It is an honor to my grandmother. My grandmother will be remembered by those in San Francisco, California, and the United States for so many reasons, a number of which have already been mentioned today. For San Franciscans, Senator Feinstein guided the city through tragedy, saved our beloved cable cars, created the iconic Pier 39, and fought for the LGBTQ community during the height of the HIV/AIDS epidemic. For Californians, Senator Feinstein established Joshua Tree in Death Valley, preserved beautiful Lake Tahoe, modernized California's water system, and protected California's deserts. For those across the country, Senator Feinstein will be remembered for banning assault weapons, creating life-saving Amber Alerts, and rooting out and banning torture. She will also be remembered across the country for shattering the glass ceiling. She showed young women everywhere that they too can be leaders, that they can make an impact, and that they deserve a seat at the table. But to me, she will be remembered as the most incredible grandmother. Minutes after I was born, at the hospital, she exclaimed to my mom and dad, "Oh wow, she looks just like me. You should change her name to Dianne." From then on, she and I were extremely close. We had an effortless connection. When I was a toddler, we could amuse ourselves for hours playing hide and seek. I would laugh and laugh and laugh when she would find me hiding. I would spend nights at my grandmother's house whenever she was home in San Francisco. She taught me to play chess, although she hated losing. We would pick flowers from her garden and draw them together, although only her drawings were worth making into prints. She would give me haircuts at home in the kitchen, much to my parents' dismay because my hair always turned out crooked. And she loved teaching me about San Francisco's history, why there are bricks instead of asphalt on some of our city's steepest hills, what Sutro baths used to look like before the fire, and the best places in the city to view the bay. At the end of the day, we would curl up close on the couch and watch a movie or our favorite TV show. And when it was time to go to sleep, she would say goodnight, and she would always sing me the song, "You Are My Sunshine." My grandmother was my biggest cheerleader. She was an unwavering support system. She never failed to tell me how proud she was of me. I could bring to her any worry or fear, and she always had a good solution. She was a constant and unyielding source of love. As I got older, she started sharing more of her infinite wisdom. She taught me lessons that I will carry with me forever. Work to your long suit, she would say. Do something that you can do for your entire life, something that energizes you, something that inspires you, and something that makes the world a better place for the people who live in it. Boy, did my grandmother do that. Earn your spurs, she said. You have to work hard, put in the hours, and work your way up. My grandmother did that too. It doesn't matter how many times you lose. You pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you keep going, no matter what. That, and she would also say to me, if you ever go out of town, no matter where you're going, it doesn't matter if you're going to a city or the desert or a beach or the mountains, always pack a black pantsuit. There is no occasion to which you can't wear a black pantsuit. So to my grandmother, I promise to always work to my long suit, to earn my spurs, to keep going no matter what, and to never forget my black pantsuit. Your family loves you. We are so proud of you. We miss you, and you will always, always be my sunshine.
Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you to your entire family, to so many of Senator Feinstein's staff and colleagues from the Senate, people who have come far and wide. Thank you to all of San Francisco for your love and your support of Senator Feinstein and her family at this time. Her legacy will continue to live on in everything we do to continue to lead this city and to lead this country. This has been an extraordinary service, and we appreciate especially our Vice President for being here to represent our country, to demonstrate the importance of what Senator Feinstein means, not just to San Francisco and the state of California, but the entire country. It is so meaningful to be here with each and every one of you, so many elected leaders and legends and people who helped lead this city for many, many generations. You are all in our hearts and our prayers as we continue to mourn Senator Feinstein, but she will always, always be remembered in so many corners of this city, in so many corners of this state, and in corners of this country. And at this time, we'd like to welcome back the girls' chorus for a final song in honor of our great Senator, Dianne Feinstein. Thank you.
Other places only make me love you best. Tell me you're the heart of all the golden rest. San Francisco, welcome me home again. I'm coming home to homecoming land.
Thank you again, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you being here. On behalf of Senator Dianne Feinstein's family, we want to thank you all for joining us here today.
Have you heard the news?
Paramount Plus is the streaming home of all things SpongeBob.
Where have you been all my life?
So laugh your SquarePants off on Paramount Plus with the classics, Camp Coral, and every single movie.
They laughing at us?
They're laughing next to us.
Stream all things SpongeBob.
Feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
Over
Feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
and over again.
I'm feeling it.
That's not a ride.
The SpongeBob Universe.
Streaming on Paramount Plus.
My name is Nora. How are you doing?
We go to stories. We travel there because we can bring someone to that story. We can be their eyes. We can be their ears.
You have spinal issues and you can hit the ball that far. You're really good.
That human connection is incredibly important. Because the news doesn't have to be depressing.
Tell me, what do you love about running?
Energy!
It can be uplifting. We're hard news with heart.
To all the pet project starters, weekend gardeners, rollover artists, and kitchen a la cartists, there's a new lifestyle destination for your next inspiration. Bam! Dabble. Go there. Do that.
Available over the air on Channel 2.3.
For decades, KCAL 9 has been the Southland's local station for news.
But what does local even mean these days?
It means being where you are.
The same places we live.
Cover
And care about. So what does local mean?
it means KCAL.
KCAL News on KCAL and CBS Los Angeles. More local news.
Space. The final frontier.
When we seek out the unknown, we will find things that challenge us, but we do not give in to fear.
We make our stand together.
I think we make a pretty good team.
Look up and let's see what's out there.
This can be your new home.
Yes.
Make it so.
Make it so. Let's show them what you got.
This is KCAL News, Los Angeles.
Hello and welcome to KCAL News at noon and streaming on CBS News Los Angeles. I'm Amy Johnson. We begin with breaking news. According to the LA Times, former USC gynecologist George Tyndall, who was awaiting trial on sex-related charges, has died. Our assignment manager, Mark Liu, is at the desk. And Mark, what details can you share with us now?
Well, I can tell you, Amy, the assignment desk is working on confirming this with the LA County Coroner's Office and a spokesperson for George Tyndall. But the LA Times is reporting that a 76-year-old George Tyndall, who was a former USC gynecologist who, as you said, was awaiting trial on sex-related charges involving 16 patients, students at USC, has been found dead, unresponsive in his condo after a friend was unable to reach him. Now, this is video here of Tyndall in court. You know, he had previously been involved in a class action lawsuit in June of 2019. USC agreed to pay $250 million in a class action lawsuit as a settlement for the women treated by Tyndall back from '89 to 2016. He's accused of multiple charges of sexual assault, but he was awaiting trial, and it appears that, according to the LA Times, his attorney said that a close female friend had been trying to reach Tyndall, but Tyndall wasn't picking up his phone, and when this friend visited Tyndall at his condo, she found him in bed and unresponsive. Now, we are working on confirming this and getting some more details on exactly how he died, but right now the LA Times is reporting that he passed away. He was 76 years old. That is the very latest here from the desk. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you.
How do I go from planning a wedding to planning a funeral on the same day? I'm not supposed to be up here talking to you all. I should be up here with Ryan holding hands as we prepare to say our vows.
A heartbroken fiance and hundreds of colleagues and loved ones bid a final farewell to a fallen deputy. Funeral services were held today for LA County Sheriff's Deputy Ryan Klinkenbrummer. Hundreds of law enforcement friends and family packed the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels to pay their final respects. KCAL's Rick Montanez shows us the emotional service.
A somber morning here in downtown Los Angeles. Hundreds of law enforcement personnel here at the cathedral to pay their respects. You see some of the flowers out here, this mass being celebrated inside Our Lady of Angels Cathedral. 30-year-old Deputy Ryan Klinkenbrummer being remembered as a hero. Sheriff Robert Luna praised him for his dedication. He called Deputy Klinkenbrummer an exceptional young man. He praised the family for a combined 121 years of law enforcement service. That includes the deputy's father and grandfather. He says this young deputy's murder has created a void for so many.
Ryan's absence has left us heartbroken, with a hole torn in our lives by this senseless and cowardly murder.
Klinkenbrummer was engaged to be married. He had proposed just days before he was shot and killed near the Palmdale Sheriff's Station back on September 16th. He was sitting in his patrol unit, stopped at a red light when the shooter pulled up next to him and opened fire. A suspected shooter was arrested 2 days later.
September 16th is a day I love and hate. I hate this day because 2 years after our first date on September 16th, I lost him. I don't know how I'm going to get by without you here, but I promise I'll be strong for you. I love you with my whole heart, and I miss you more than anybody will know.
Ryan Michael, your entire family loves you. Your mother and I will always miss you. I'll see you one day in heaven. You're my hero.
A large showing of support, including this flag draped over the intersection here outside the cathedral by the Los Angeles Fire Department, also here to pay their respects. Graveside services will be held privately following the funeral mass. Reporting in downtown LA, Rick Montanez, KCAL News.
Tens of thousands of Kaiser union workers are on the picket lines for a second day, while negotiators are back at the bargaining table. KCAL News reporter Amanda Starantino has a look at what it may take to strike up a fair deal.
If you can't see the massive amount of people here at Kaiser's Baldwin Park Medical Center, you can definitely hear them. These striking workers, they're out in full force, and they have one message for their employer: put patients first. That is what they are asking for here. We are on day 2 of 3 of thousands of Southern California Kaiser Permanente healthcare workers being on strike, and more than 75,000 healthcare workers nationwide walked off the job Wednesday, making this the biggest healthcare labor strike in U.S. history. Healthcare workers want better pay and more staffing. The coalition of unions is asking for better working conditions and a $25 per hour minimum wage. Kaiser is offering between $21 and $23 per hour, just above the $20 per hour minimum wage fast food workers will soon be making in California. So I want you to meet Christian Siguenza. Now, he's been an employee here at Kaiser for the past 15 years, and this strike, it's really personal to you. You were telling me about your dad's care here at Kaiser.
Yes, my dad was a patient here a couple months ago before he passed away. You know, unfortunately, due to the short staffing crisis, you know, he wasn't getting the same service that Kaiser's used to. However, you know, we're here fighting for the patients now, so that way they don't have to go through the same issue.
Christian, thank you so much. Now, some of these employees here even say they're homeless. They're living in their cars, and it's not easy living paycheck to paycheck like so many are. Now, I did speak to some members of the bargaining committee today, and they said they want Kaiser's CEO to come to the bargaining table in good faith. They're also asking doctors to step up and stand with them, the people they work with every day. Back to you guys.
LA homeowners have a chance to save water and help the environment without spending any money. Mayor Karen Bass and the DWP general manager were at this home in West Athens, where the lawn was recently transformed to be drought tolerant. They announced a $19 million grant from the state that will pay to change yards for free in underserved communities. Professional landscapers will be in charge of replacing the lawns. Mayor Bass said the city is at the forefront of environmental changes.
I urge every eligible resident to embrace this opportunity. Let's transform our neighborhoods together, conserving water and saving on bills. With potential water savings of 77 million gallons annually, we can collectively sustain more than 1,000 LA households every year.
Well, some of the grant will also go to the Dominguez Gap Recycled Water Project in Wilmington, where enough water will be recycled to supply drinking water to 47,000 LA customers a year. That project is expected to be complete by 2025. Well, it is a October warm-up as it feels more like summer than fall. KCAL meteorologist Paul Dianne here now with our next weather first forecast. And Paul, you know, we're used to Santa Ana winds around this time, but it's kind of calm and hot.
We're not getting much of the wind, but we are feeling the impact when it comes to temperature. You're onto something. Only a few spots have a wind advisory. Fire danger is not crazy high. But we've got the heat, and with a Santa Ana wind event, it typically does warm up all the way to the beach. And hello, Long Beach, 88 degrees. Now, mind you, it's not at the beach. The airport's 5 miles inland, but you get the point. Santa Monica, where the airport there is only about a mile from the beach, it is already 86 degrees, making today the warmest day of the year in Santa Monica, and we may still see the temperatures climb. Heat advisory. Inland Empire this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, not the night, because nights are cooling off rather efficiently. And also inland sections of Orange County are under a heat advisory as well. Inland Empire, it's going to be a hot afternoon, close to 100 degrees almost already. By 1 o'clock, we're up to 96, 98 at 2 o'clock, still the upper 90s at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And a sampling of your high temperatures today brought to you by the number 9. Hemet 96, Temecula 96, downtown Los Angeles 94, 96 in Santa Clarita, 96 in Simi Valley. Look at Camarillo. That would be the hottest day of the year for you. 95 and 101 in Chino. So it's hot today. How long do we stay hot? We'll have the answer coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Paul, thanks so much. Well, the race is on to replace Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House, and House members are aiming for a vote as early as next week, despite Congress being in recess. KCAL reporter Natalie Brand has a list of the names of candidates hoping to fill the position.
How are you feeling this morning?
Right. Less than 48 hours after Republican Congressman Kevin McCarthy was ousted as Speaker of the U.S. House, the race to replace him is ramping up. House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan of Ohio, a vocal ally of former President Trump, was the first to announce his candidacy, arguing he believes he can unite the conference.
My politics are entirely consistent with where conservatives and Republicans are across the country.
House Majority Leader Steve Scalise of Louisiana, who's currently undergoing treatment for blood cancer, is also in the race. He says he has a track record of leading House Republicans.
This is really important that we get this right.
And Oklahoma's Kevin Hern, a lesser-known lawmaker, says he's also considering a run.
How do you unite the conference?
Well, you listen first and you see what the issues are.
House Republicans are expected to hold a candidate forum next Tuesday, and members are hoping for a vote on who will fill the vacancy by the middle of next week. Until the next speaker is elected, the House is paralyzed by politics, unable to conduct business with a looming November deadline to avert a government shutdown and an ongoing fight over additional funding for Ukraine.
More than anything, we need to change the poisonous atmosphere in Washington.
While the next speaker will be forced to work with Democrats in a divided Congress, their first task will be trying to rally support within a divided Republican House. Natalie Brand, Capitol Hill.
Dramatic video shows the moments a FedEx plane made an emergency landing. Up next, what led to the crew's decision to change course just miles from their destination. And a shocking crime caught on camera, the moments that led up to an 11-year-old grabbing a gun and shooting at his football teammates.
Are you on the hood of the car?
Plus, a man clings to the front of a car after a driver crashed into him and tried to flee the scene. Shocking arrest just ahead.
Have you heard the news?
Paramount Plus is the streaming home of all things SpongeBob.
Where have you been all my life?
So laugh your SquarePants off on Paramount Plus with the classics. Camp Coral and every single movie.
They're laughing at us?
They're laughing next to us.
Stream all things SpongeBob.
Feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
Over.
Feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
And over again.
I'm feeling it.
That's not a ride.
The SpongeBob Universe. Streaming on Paramount Plus.
My name is Nora. How are you doing?
We go to stories. We travel there because we can bring someone to that story. We can be their eyes. We can be their ears.
You have spinal issues and you can hit the ball that far. You're really good.
That human connection is incredibly important. Because the news doesn't have to be depressing.
Tell me, what do you love about running?
Energy! It can be uplifting. We're hard news with heart.
To all the pet project starters, weekend gardeners, rollover artists, and kitchen a la cartists, there's a new lifestyle destination for your next inspiration. Bam! Dabble. Go there. Do that.
Available over the air on Channel 2.3.
For decades, KCAL 9 has been the Southland's local station for news.
But what does local even mean these days?
It means being where you are.
The same places we live.
Cover
and care about. So what does local mean?
It means KCAL.
KCAL News on KCAL and CBS Los Angeles. More local news.
Space. The final frontier.
When we seek out the unknown, we will find things that challenge us, but we do not give in to fear.
We make our stand together.
I think we make a pretty good team.
Look up and let's see what's out there.
This can be your new home.
Yes.
Make it so.
Make it so. Let's show them what you got.
Lewis. Halloween brings out so many iconic characters, and we may be witnessing the birth of the newest one. Videos of Lewis have racked up millions of views on TikTok. This hot new lawn decoration sells for $180 at Target if you can find it. Fans have become obsessed with the creature and its catchphrase. It's pretty much sold out at Target stores. Lewis gets 5-star reviews, even from owners who admit he's kind of flimsy, but he's got a lot of attitude. Well, Swifties are bringing the Eras Tour to front lawns this Halloween. Hundreds of lights and dressed up skeletons are what you can expect on the Scaras Tour.
Speak Now, Purple. This one is from Shake It Off. This was 1989.
How creative. Caitlin McLaughlin in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin said she was inspired to decorate her lawn with all things Taylor Swift when she went to the concert in June. She created this display with Swift-like skeletons dressed in handmade outfits based on each Taylor Swift era. Her neighbor, Patty, says she has a front row seat to the Scaras Tour and that she wouldn't sell that on Ticketmaster for anything.
People slow down and take a picture, so the community is just, thrilled.
McLaughlin says that she hopes it makes the neighborhood smile. It's very creative. As the surge at the southern border continues, the impact is being felt nationwide. The new drastic measure the Biden administration is now taking to slow the flow. And a new law is being celebrated by workers across our state. How many paid sick days your employer must allow starting in January.
Driving in Southern California can be, well, you know, slow.
KCAL traffic keeps you moving.
With the where, when, and which way to go.
Be prepared for now and what's next. Next traffic on KCAL News. This is KCAL News, Los Angeles.
Welcome back. In response to a surge in southern border crossings, the Biden administration will waive more than 24 laws to speed up construction on building a wall at the border. Now, according to a notice posted to the Federal Register, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said that DHS had concluded bypassing the laws was necessary. He referred to the area in the Rio Grande Valley along the U.S.-Mexico border as an area of high illegal entry. According to CBS News, approximately 50,000 migrants from Venezuela alone crossed the U.S.-Mexico border unlawfully last month, a new record high crossing. This is video of a surge at the southern border near the Ciudad Juarez, El Paso, Texas area. Texas Congresswoman Mayra Flores posted this video saying it took place on Tuesday night. Flores is the first Mexican-born Congresswoman in U.S. history. The surge of migrants has strained federal and state resources and is fueling concerns in cities nationwide.
Just landed in Mexico City. It was a great flight. And this is just the beginning of really the journey of trying to be on the ground and understand, the whole flow of the migrant and asylum seekers.
Well, those concerns have led New York City Mayor Eric Adams to take a fact-finding mission. He is currently in Mexico and will be heading to Ecuador and Colombia next. Mayor Adams is hoping to find solutions to slow the surge of people leaving those countries to head to the U.S.
We're not anti-migrants, but it shouldn't be on our back.
Well, in Chicago, the city says there are nearly 10,000 migrants living in shelters and roughly 3,000 are awaiting placement, which led the city to close down a local community center to repurpose it for housing. Residents expressed their frustration, saying the move takes away after-school activities from kids and a place for seniors to gather.
Our tax bills are paid into the park district. Nobody asked us for permission. Nobody asked us how we felt about it.
These decisions need to be brought to the community. If we lose this, you know how far our kids have to go to do activities?
Well, according to the Chicago Office of Emergency Management, since August of 2022, some 328 migrant buses have been sent to Chicago.
They pretty much said, listen, we can't help you with rooms for your clients. We're just going to cancel the rooms, and that was it.
Well, in Massachusetts, outrage after a block of hotel rooms reserved by veterans hoping to attend the Army-Navy game were given away to house migrants. Hotel management confirmed the reservations were canceled to provide shelter for the migrants. The game will be played December 9th. The governor says she has directed her Secretary of Veterans Affairs to help those veterans try to find new lodging. All right, back here at home, a representative claims that there is a shelter available to house migrants, but a court order issued during the pandemic is preventing the facility from being put to use, and also says that the ICE processing center in Adelanto has more than 1,900 beds going unused due to a judge's ruling issued back in September of 2020 that is still in place, despite an order from President Biden to end the policy. We are following some developing news right now. The city of Rancho Palos Verdes has declared a local emergency due to landslide concerns. Assignment manager Mark Liu is live at the desk with details. Mark.
Yeah, Amy, so there are 3 areas of concern for the Rancho Palos Verdes City Council. They're the areas of Portuguese Bend, Abalone Cove, and a place called Klondike Canyon. All are at increased risk of landslides right now, and this is why that local emergency has been declared. Take a look at some of the damage that's already happened to homes in those areas. The council voted on Tuesday to take the step to declare the emergency to bolster resources for these areas and address the landslide problem, which, as you can see, has damaged homes in those areas in the recent past. Now, the city council is also declaring a moratorium on new construction in these areas that may be contributing to landslide movement, particularly along the south coast side of the Rancho Palos Verdes Peninsula. Now, there's no evacuations for any of these areas at this time, but part of the emergency declaration will allow the city to speed contracts for repair work, which is a good thing for these homes, and issue other orders to help minimize land movements, things like prohibiting outdoor watering or requiring leaky swimming pools to be drained and repaired. Now, in addition to this local emergency declaration, the council has directed its staff to come up with a short-term action plan for all of these fixes to happen in the next 60 days. That is the very latest here from the desk. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Mark, thanks so much.